Welcome to a new episode of AI in Lending. I'm your co host, Michael Hammond, and with me is Josh Friend, another co host. But today, he's not a co host, he's actually a guest. And as we talk about AI and go through the whole industry, I couldn't be more excited Josh, to have you on the show. So, Josh, welcome.
Thanks, Michael. This will be a fun experience, kind of doing the host and the guest at the same time, right?
Absolutely. Well, Josh, there's tons of talk out in the industry about AI, and for some people, it's just a buzzword. It's a word you post on your trade show booth or something. But unlike a lot of that theory and hype, you guys have been doing AI for quite a bit of time. And let's talk about it's live, it's in production. Everything that you're going to describe to me is actually in production at numerous lenders across the country. So, talk to me about Aithena and kind of what you're doing with AI and how it's making a difference in the mortgage space.
Yeah, no. So Athena, really, we looked at AI, and obviously, there's no question AI is going to touch every part of mortgages, every part of anything you do. Every part of our entire lives will be changed by AI, and that's become radically apparent. What we looked at is how are we going to obviously AI is going to come in the mortgage industry. It's going to really help lenders. Where can we help lenders, and what does that look like? So at the very beginning, we knew we had a lot of data on customers. We had a lot of call data, a lot of call recordings. So a lot of our lenders are consumer direct lenders, and they talk to customers all day long. They're servicers, they're buying leads, they're on the phone with these customers hours and hours every day trying to sell loans. And they have this problem where they're really trying to help their loan officers do a better job on the phone, listen to calls, review calls, figure out what to do better. So we really kind of looked at that and said, hey, we have a massive amount of data and all these and a real need. So we actually started reviewing calls with AI and
Okay.
transcribing calls, listening to calls, and then actually making some real assumptions on what's going to happen with transactions. And to your point, this isn't just something in theory. This has been in production for over a year. We're analyzing over 50,000 new customer calls every month right now. So we're upwards of 600,000 customer calls we've reviewed. I think we're closing on 60,000 hours or more of calls we reviewed. So we have huge data sets and a bunch of science behind what we can actually do with AI and listening to calls, rating calls, reviewing customers, finding deal possibilities, coaching improvements. It's pretty powerful.
So let's dive into some of the specific areas that are really driving a lot of ROI for lenders. And let's
Yeah.
talk about your deal possibility and probability scores because I'm fascinated by it. And walk me kind of through some of the results that you're getting.
Yeah, so first off, to say, as obviously being on the show as one of the co-hosts, I'm really into AI. I've always been in technology, so I can geek out, nerd out on this stuff all day long, and it's been something that's been really fascinating for us. So we really wanted to look at the science behind what what you can do with the deal possibility scores and what this all means and what you can actually understand. So kind of give you from a very high level the ROI. I stayed closest to customers. I've been working with all of our initial customers, understanding what do people use. When it comes to technology, there's a lot of great technology, but what are people actually using? What's driving real ROI? And there's a lot of features I can talk about what Athena does, but there's two major features that really have driven some serious ROI. The first one I'll talk about is the deal possibility score. I think that's a good place to start. So, having the ability to look at hundreds of thousands of calls and then also knowing the outcomes of these customer inquiries for mortgages, we're able to train Athena to understand when someone's going to buy a loan and when someone's not going to buy a loan. So one of the things we have was calls a deal possibility score. And it gives someone a score of a 1 through a 9 on how likelihood they are for you to close a loan with them. And this has been trained on huge amounts of data sets. One of the case studies we did with one of our lenders, which was great for us to get the numbers back. They actually reviewed our deal possibility score. So we listened to a call, and in that call, there's all kinds of transactional data that's going on. People are talking about what they may need. They're saying they're buying a house or they're trying to lower their rate. They need cash out. They're talking about their credit. Do they have a job? All these different things. And there's buying signs. AI's listened to all this, analyzing all this, and scores it. So with one of our lenders, they went back and did a review of our deal possibility score. And what we looked at was any deals that we scored 1 to a 3, they funded at 0%. Any deals we scored at 4 to 7, they funded at 0.9%. Any deals we scored an 8 or a 9, they averaged a 13.75% conversion. So what the AI was doing for them is saying, hey, if all these, we have lenders that talk to 20, 30,000 new customers a month.
Right.
Who should I follow up with? All of a sudden, it really laser pinpointed on, hey, here's all these people. These are the people that can actually close a loan with you. Go after them. 97% of their business was coming from deal scores of 8 and 9. So we were laser focusing on saying, here's where your business is coming from. Make sure you follow up with these customers. Make sure you follow up with these missed opportunities. And we have lenders that use that, and we've driven some real ROI with that, being able to go after deals that maybe the loan officer initially missed, didn't follow up with, but it had an 8 or a 9 score. Well, that means there's actually a customer there that actually wants to buy a loan, then will buy one from you. Someone else will follow up with it, or a manager reach back out to it, and driving some real ROI by actually bringing business in that they were missing every day.
Well, and if I've seen a lot of the numbers, and I think one of the numbers that just kind of jumped off the page at me is you're able to do that with 89% accuracy.
Yes. Yeah. That was, yeah. So that was another thing. Very early on, we launched this product last January with Cross Country Mortgage. They have a large call center, lots of loan officers on the platform. By March, we were able to actually use our model because we did a lot of training, and we could predict with Cross Country with an 89.4% accuracy based off the first phone call of whether or not Cross Country would close a loan with that customer. But just think about the intelligence. Wow. I don't know any sales manager that can do it. I don't know any loan officer that can guess with a 90% accuracy rate whether or not I'm going to close a loan with this customer. I mean, it's pretty impactful. So all that knowledge that it knows, hey, I know if you're going to buy a loan from me because here's all the reasons why you would or wouldn't. So think about all that intelligence can then teach you on, hey, here's what you need to do to get more people to buy from you. Here's the missed opportunities. How can I coach you up? Right? Having this master sales coach, right? Listen to every one of your sales calls with the data set of understanding the outcomes of, hundreds of thousands of transactions. Think about, how powerful that could be within a sales organization.
So let's talk about that sales coaching, because whether you're a call center, whether you're a servicer, right now, as well as I do, the sales manager tries to grab a handful of calls a month. They try to listen to part of the recording. They get 10 interruptions and everything like that. And there's no way that they can go through all of those calls. It's not cost effective. You would have to hire hundreds of people to do that. So tell me how AI has transformed that aspect.
Yeah, so think about this. A lot of our lenders know the value of call reviews. It's just like if you're a professional sports team, you know the value of watching film review, game film.
That's right.
The difference is you can't watch all your players every single time they play on the field and listen to every single call. It's an impossibility, the amount of time it takes. So you're really hunting for a needle in a haystack. Hey, I'm going to do one call review a month for each loan officer, or one a week. Which call do I review? I don't know. There's 500 to review. Let me just grab that one. It's 12 minutes long, and whatever's on happens to be on that call is what I can train on. No more context, right? So you're really, hunting for a needle in a haystack. Now think about having every call reviewed, but not just having it reviewed, having the data be usable. So to your point, the coaching. So one of the things we've rolled out, we have lots of different coaching reports. One that has just gotten and we monitor usage. And we've had some of our lenders say this is one of our lenders. This is his new obsession. So a CEO of a large mortgage company, just having the ability to do what we can do is we have one report we call the objection handling report.
Okay.
So think about this. I'm working a sales team, and right now, people are saying, hey, and I was working with a lender yesterday, going through some of their calls. People are holding off. Well, I think rates might come down a little bit lower. Right? And they're like, well, sir, I can save you $300 a month right now. Like, I get it, rates may come down later in the future, but let's move forward today. You can always refinance in the future. Well, I still want to wait for rates to come down. That's a common objection right now. Even if people can save money, well, I think rates might come down a little bit lower. And your sales team has that objection, but you don't know really how well they do to rebuttal that. Because unless you just happen to be there when they have that rebuttal, just happen to fall into that call, you're never going to hear that objection, that rebuttal. Now, all of a sudden, I can say, how about if I can look holistically across my entire Salesforce, look at all the top 15, 20 objections that they're actually getting. And I can say, oh, the number one objection I'm getting this week is I'm waiting for rates to come down. Oh, and I've gotten it 362 times. I can click on a button. It can actually take me to every single call I've had that objection on. It can actually take me right to the call, right into the spot where the objection is at, and I can listen to it and I can read the transcript. So now if I'm trying to train you, when someone says, I want to wait till rates are lower, or I don't want to pull my credit because it hurts my credit, or I don't want to pay for the appraisal, or whatever that objection may be, I could go, all right, I'm going to listen to the last 20 times you've had that objection. One after them, boom, boom, boom. So now think about the power of just seeing that. Now,
Right.
you're not hunting for a needle in a haystack. You're like, hey, here's the number one objection my Salesforce has. And it also rates people how well they do handle that objection. And here's my lowest performers. Let me go to the lowest performing calls. Let me see how I can coach these people up. And what about this? Hey, I would tell you, if that's your number one objection right now is rates are, I'm waiting for rates to become lower, you have to give your loan officers a really good rebuttal. Teach them something to say. And it may be something as, hey, and it, use a lender may want to come out with a, we'll give you a no cost refinance in the future. Right, we'll waive the processing fees and blah, 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 blah. If rates come down, we'll give you no cost refinance, whatever it may be, but you have to give them something to work with. Now think about, you give them that, just like you give your sports team a new play. Hey, all right, guys, here's the new play. Let's go do this. You go left, you go right. Next week, you can actually go back and listen to the calls or review the game film and see if they did what you asked them to do. So think about the coaching and the ability to actually bring people up faster and really teach people how to do this job more effectively.
Well, and I think in today's market, as people keep battling for the top LOs and everything like that, they're looking for tools that are going to make them better. And the key then is not just trying to attract the top talent, but how do you get those people that are middle of the road and upscale them because of this tool? Super powerful.
What you just said is absolutely right. And years and years, when I first became a loan officer, I was 22, and I remember interviewing IndyMac Bank, and I was pretty cocky, and I said, I'll be your top loan officer and all this and that. And the guy who ran the IndyMac's call center said, listen, I'll be honest with you, I don't need a bunch of A players. I don't need a bunch of all-stars. I need a bunch of average B players, and I'm going to build those people and make them A players. I need good, hard-working people. And when I ran my own mortgage company, I realized my A players, I could give them tools, I could help them, but they're just going to be stars because whatever it was, they were figuring it out. But it really was, to your point, how do I make that solid B player an A player? Right. Or that C plus player, a B plus A player? How do I uplift because you can't build a company or an all stars.
Exactly.
You take 1,000 of the top loan officers in the country, put them all in the same company, you're going to have disparity all of this. It's whatever happens, you just can't, it just doesn't work that way. So how do you make the average person an all-star? And this is the technology, and that's the thing about AI. And that's just for anything you're doing with AI, right? And my wife, who's a therapist, sometimes will use ChatGPT to help her write cards to her friends when someone's lost a loved one. I'm like, you're a therapist, and you know how to talk to people, and you're still using ChatGPT to help you write a card or a note to someone. I mean, if you think about that, it's everyone is going to get that uplift in all things that we do AI. That's really what it's doing for us right now.
So you guys are doing some incredible things. There's tangible results. Talk to me though, one of the objections I hear when people start talking AI, well, I can tell it's AI or it's taking out that human aspect. And I know you shared a great story of how AI was more human than the human. Share that with our listeners.
Yeah. So one of the calls, and this is actually a sales manager of one of our lenders, brought this to us because early on, again, I'm really close to this product. I'm down working with some sales managers, even loan officers. My whole team is early on making sure, how is this helping people, right? Because again, this is great technology, but I want to be able to save money and help you guys, right? One of the sales managers brought this call to us because we thought it was really cool. I'll kind of frame it. This was an elderly woman. She was a widow. She was talking to a loan officer. She needed some cash. She needed to refinance. And she mentioned she was a widow, but she also mentioned that she lost her best friend, Carla. Her best friend, Carla, had recently passed away. And then also mentioned she could do the application tomorrow because she had to go to the funeral for her best friend, Carla, how she's a widow, and this is her best friend. And the loan officer both times I listened to the call because I saw the feedback. One of the things AI does, we have the whole coaching feedback. It gives you missed talking points, follow-up next steps, coaching tips, things, how to handle that customer, that call in the future better, right? So reading through the notes, and one of the notes was, for the loan officer, was empathize more with the client's personal situation, recent loss of Carla. It was actually coaching the loan officer to be more empathetic with the customer because I listened to the call. The loan officer didn't really say much. Oh, sorry to hear from your loss. Well, so I'll send you the loan application. We'll talk on Wednesday. It wasn't, and the reality was, and we also have to step back for a second and think about it. This woman was on the phone, said she was a widow, mentioned it multiple times, mentioned her best friend had recently passed away. She wanted to talk about it. We as humans sometimes overlook the psychology of it, but AI knows, because listen to hundreds of thousands of calls and reading every sales book, every psychology book in existence. Empathy and connection is one of the surest ways to create a customer. If I can connect with you and you're going to get a loan, you'll buy from me. So this is coaching the human, be more empathetic, right? You're a person and you'll get business. It was pretty.
Love that example, because I think so many times people are like, well, it sounds robotic and it sounds this. And I think that's usually just a crutch or an excuse for them to not really lean in and embrace AI. Josh, if people want to find out more about Aithena, if they want to get a demo, what's the best way they can go about doing that? Because people need to see this. They need to experience it because it's having a profound impact.
Just go to our website, Insellerate.com. There's going to be a contact me or get demo request. Just put your information in there. One of our sales team will reach out to you. Be more than happy to show you Aithena, show you how we can help you. And again, something else I just want to point out there. This is a standalone product. So not to confuse all those people, you do not have to use our Insellerate CRM. We integrate to Salesforce, Velocify, other platforms out there. So you can use Aithena with whatever CRM system you're using as well.
Well, and I love that. The fact that it's agnostic, everyone can embrace it.
Yep.
There's not a huge install time. They can get up and running quickly. You guys have an incredible onboarding team to get them rolling. So if you haven't checked it out, when we here at AI in Lending, we want to talk about all the different ways people are using it. And Josh, I can't thank you enough for sharing your personal experience and the incredible things that your teams have done to produce true results in lending through the power of AI.
Awesome. Michael, thank you for having me on.
Josh, it's a pleasure. We'll talk soon.